I'm Emily Mashak, and you are listening to Tuned Into NoCo, a Town Square Media show that lets you know what matters in NoCo. I am joined today by Adrienne Anderson, the COO of Anderson Podiatry Center, Dr. Jim Anderson of the center, and Aaron Bergstrom, the co-facilitator for the 31st annual Shoes for the Holidays event. So thank you so much all for being here.
Thank you.
Of course. Now, before we get started, just tell me, what is the Shoes for the Holidays campaign? What's going on with all of it?
Well, it started about 31 years ago, and I got the idea from somebody in Chicago. I can't remember who, but we brought it to northern Colorado. And the idea is to simply supply shoes for the poor, the homeless people, and because it's a real needed item, it's a very simple item, and we've never gone anywhere where we've given these shoes where they don't use them all up. It's like we can't give enough shoes actually year after year. And real simply, it's when you are homeless, we forget that people, when they're homeless, they don't have a car, and they need, it's like their wheels. Imagine if you went home tonight and you didn't have a vehicle to drive. And so it's really meaningful thing for patients or for people. And as a doctor, it sounds so simple, but it's a real important thing to be able to, keep your feet protected.
Mm-hmm. And so you came up with this idea 31 years ago.
Well, I'd like to say I was his original thought, but it wasn't. It came from somebody in Chicago, and I'm not sure who that was, but original for Colorado, let's say.
Yeah, that's great. Can you tell me a little bit more about the logistics? Like, where will the donated shoes and socks be going, and how does that all work out?
Well, we'll take any size or type of footwear, from baby shoes to women's dress shoes to men's heavy winter boots, just again, any type or size. And people are encouraged to take them out of their closet and bring them in, and so we can give them to the children and adults who need them.
How much of a need is there for shoes and socks? We know how important it is, but how big of an issue locally is this really?
Last year, what was it, 4,000 shoes went out.
Oh, wow.
That was, I guess that's a combination of Loveland, Fort Collins, Cheyenne, between all those places.
Mm-hmm.
So a tremendous number went out. And
we have some statistics about the specific need in Larimer County. 1 in 5 people in Larimer County currently lives in poverty. 1,175 students who are homeless in Poudre School District, students themselves. And in the 2017-18 school year, more than 700 students in the Thompson School District in Loveland were homeless, according to the Education Foundation down there.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty staggering. And if you consider, you need more than one pair of shoes typically and can go through shoes pretty fast, it's amazing just how the need just keeps recurring year after year after year.
Yeah.
We emphasize the needs of children. For instance, the Walmart Community Grants team gave us a grant this year, which was great. It was $1,000, and we used it to spend it for shoes for girls and boys, for little ones. So, and just to illustrate the need, every year we collect stories of the children and adults whose lives are really touched by the shoes. It's just such a critical and just such a simple need, but it's just so important. Once I was helping with a local mission, and a young man came in and he was barefoot. And he was really sad and solemn, and he asked, do you have a pair of shoes that I could have? And fortunately, somebody had just donated a pair in his size. And so he was glad for that. And I said, well, would you like a few pairs of socks? And he said, well, I would, but do you have a duffel bag I could put them in? So this young man, had nothing. And it's so important. And then in contrast to that, this was sad, but at the same mission, a staff member told me that a young woman came in and she had socks on, but she was barefoot. Her husband was in prison. She was pregnant. So just, in a real tough situation. And she just kept saying, I need shoes, but there was nobody that had donated anything recently, and they just didn't have a pair to give her. And she had such great need.
Mm-hmm. So something so small really makes a big difference.
Oh, huge difference. It does.
I would add, too, it's just something that normally people many times would think about just discarding them. And there's still useful life left in shoes that normally a lot of us would go, oh, well, heck, we'll just throw those in the trash. Well, no, they're still very, very useful. And I agree with what we were talking about here with Erin. I mean, it's hard to describe it, but a face tells you some powerful things when you see and you look in the eyes of these people. I remember, and I still have it imprinted, a mother with 2 children, homeless, and it's like, it seems like a very thin thread between where we're at, and some of these people just had some really bad luck. And we don't know all their stories or understand all their stories, but it could happen to people, and it's, we're grateful we're not there, but it's good for us to give back to the people there where they've had that kind of bad luck, and hopefully get them back to where they can be productive again, and maybe shoes are part of that process.
Definitely. It's so great that we have something like that here in Northern Colorado. I'm sure many of our listeners will want to participate. So can you tell me a bit about the logistics? How long is the campaign going? Where and what can they donate? How can they get it to these people?
Well, the campaign has started on Friday, so a few days ago officially, and runs to the end of the year. And then we will be doing a sorting party is what we do to sort the shoes, and then the agencies that we'll be distributing to will be there at that event and be able to take the shoes that they need. And then there's others that we distribute to other locations too if they aren't there at that scene. So
there currently are 6 nonprofits that will pick up the shoes at the end of the drive. The sorting party is fun because we bring all the donations into one place, and then we have adults and kids and even toddlers that will sort the shoes because even little ones, they like it. It's easy. They can line the shoes up that match, and so it's a really intergenerational thing. And the sorting party this year will take place at Emmanuel Lutheran Church and School, and that's on the north part of Loveland. And they have graciously allowed us to use their gymnasium, and we will need that space because we get a lot of shoes. And, the people that bring in the shoes, there's people from churches, from businesses, from schools, retirement centers. I mean, there's a lot of people, and really all it takes is to set out a box, put a poster on it, and we can provide that poster. And then when it fills up, bring them to us. And the Anderson Podiatry has like 3 different locations, and we have 2 different locations in Loveland, or 3, and then a couple in Fort Collins and 1 in Cheyenne. So anyway, we try to cover the territory.
We've got our office in North Fort Collins, Anderson Podiatry Center, which is on Riverside Avenue. There's a South Fort Collins location at Runner's Roost. We'll be putting the address, I'm sure, on the website. And then in North Loveland at Emmanuel Lutheran Church and School, and downtown Loveland at J. Day's Appliance, Mattress, and Home Furnishings. East Loveland is well covered, at Anderson Podiatry Center again. And then in Cheyenne, Wyoming at our podiatry location up there.
No shortage of places to donate.
No, there's not. Okay, let me mention one other. If you call me, and I'm Erin, we have a storage unit. It's a 10 by 15 storage unit between Loveland and Fort Collins, and I could meet people there too if that's more convenient.
Well, congratulations to all of you on the 31st year of the Shoes and Sock Drive. You've been doing it for so long. What kind of impact have you seen this have on the Northern Colorado and Wyoming community since you've been involved?
Homeward Alliance loves us. They are part of a group of organizations that work together to meet people's needs. They've been doing that for a long time. And they reach out to people who are homeless on the streets. They have a Children in Need event where they bring children's shoes. All of the agencies really like our shoe drive because they stock up, for the coming year. So, did you want to say something about Junior League?
Well, Junior League, just who I used to be involved with, but they do a great service and have helped people all walks of life. But this is certainly one that they've been vested in, at least for the most few recent years.
From the beginning, yeah.
Okay, from the beginning, yeah. So, even in years past, before we teamed up with Aaron last year and really kind of exploded this campaign, it's really become exponentially bigger and better. But even before then, with the churches and organizations that we worked with, just from our office on our own, whoever is available to take shoes or wants to take shoes has always been so grateful. And they have this huge need, and they always go use. They don't have any left over the next year when we come around again. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add that, doing this for 31 years, it's like you'd think we would figure this out by now. We're really getting it dialed in more. And thanks to Erin and her energy, I want to thank her because she's very passionate, energetic about it, and I think she gives a lot and gets a lot back from it, and we all do. But I think we're just training people in the communities up here to every year that comes around, and we're getting very good at it, and I'm not sure how much more capacity we can have, but it's like
we'll
the
find
cup,
room.
The cup will overfloweth, I guess. But it's nice when you do something this long because it's becoming a tradition, I think.
Yeah,
and that's helpful and helpful to have people continue to do it. We thank you all.
Yeah, we have people that bring shoes even throughout the remainder of the year. They're like, I know you're going to do this again. I'm clearing out my shoes. I want you to have them, and we just hang on to them until the drive starts. So it's almost become, I wouldn't say year-round, but certainly people bring shoes, the rest of the year too.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to share another story. The House of Neighborly Service distributes clothing and shoes to people. In fact, more than 54,500 articles of clothing and shoes were distributed last year by that agency alone. So again, it illustrates the need. And then to make it more personal, the Alma Blanco at the House of Neighborly Service, she manages the boutique there. And she told a story about last year at the beginning of the school year, there was a little boy that came in and all he had was flip-flops on. And he was afraid, going to school. If he had worn just flip-flops, he was opening himself to bullying. And it's sad to think of other kids doing that, but they do. And so he was real excited. They had a pair of black tennis shoes in his size. So he had just, it does so much for a kid's self-esteem and for their confidence. Again, a simple gift of shoes, the value of that cannot be overstated. It is so important. Barbara Fecht is the director of Needs Incorporated in Cheyenne, and they have a huge facility, and they fill it with things that people need. And one thing that she said to me, and I thought, well, it just, again, illustrates the need and how thankful people are for it. She said more than 70% of her clients are working, and they're trying to make ends meet. And they provide items such as food, clothing, and shoes, and other things. And she said that people are in tears there every day. And they'll say things like, is this really all for me? Is it free? And is there someone I can thank? So again, people need the shoes, they're thankful, and this simple gift can make a huge difference in someone's life.
Well, thank you so much, all of you, for coming in and sharing with me about the drive. It's a wonderful cause, and I'm so glad it's been going strong and continuing to grow over these past 31 years. It's wonderful to hear.
Yes, just please bring in your gently used socks and shoes, and we will put them to good use.
Again, that was Adrian Anderson and Dr. Jim Anderson of the Anderson Podiatry Center, as well as Aaron Bergstrom in the studio with me to talk about the 31st annual Shoes for the Holidays, a campaign that allows you to donate your gently used or new shoes and socks to those in need. If you would like to learn more about how you can donate to the campaign, you can find this interview as well as more information on our station website or on our free app.